As you can see, I've now completed the front of the truck. So you may recall the last time you saw it, none of this was attached to the firewall, but what I've done is I've created this angle iron former to hold the inside of the sides, soldered all that together, and then I've made the grills for the side, which you can see are now fitted. Of course, I've also etch primed the whole thing, and the other thing that I've finished is the fixings for this part, which has been etch primed and painted, which will go on the front. So that's the, if you like, the firewall and the forward end of the truck completed. In front of this, there is in fact a, let me just show you that. So there is, if you like, a kind of crash bar which fits on there, and you can see that crash bar fitted to the front. I've used my old method of inserting small dowels, tap dowels and screws, which you can see here, to fix this metal part to this wooden part. So that's the front progress to date. So as you can see, the grille and the crash barrier, and I've also been working on the seat rear, which you may remember. I mean, that sits on top of there. I've just got a piece of timber to fix across the top, which will be padded as you know, when I get round to making the padded seat cover. So that's the front. You may also notice that I've drilled lots of holes. You can see them here and here and here. The holes for the side fixing, you know, the holes for the front grille fixing. So this front now is more or less prepared for all the other bits and pieces that are going to be attached to it, and I'll talk about those next. So attached to the front firewall, there are a number of items, and you can see where I am with those. So the first item to kind of point out, this is one of the brackets for the lamps, and that actually goes on the side there, so you can see that will fit on there. There's also one for the other side, which goes just there. The other thing there is there's a bracket to aid anybody getting into the truck, and that goes on there. And then finally, there's a headlamp bracket which actually fits on there, and we'll have a headlamp mounted on it. So side lamp brackets, headlamp bracket, and the handrail for getting into the cab. And I've also made the top of the radiator. So you see I've drilled that and tapped it. And that will be fixed into those two holes there, and will sit just inside there, like so. It's got to be painted another bit and have another piece made to represent the radiator cap at the top, but you know, that's one of the next jobs on the agenda. Also, whilst I've been at this, I've made floorboards. So I've put you can probably see just in the timber that I put in, so that the floorboards can sit on there. So I've got a set of floorboards made, and then I run into what it isn't a problem, but it's some decision making that I had to face up to. You may recall that this particular grill is the one that will be where the handbrake will be, and also you've got the foot brake, the clutch and the accelerator to accommodate as well. And these components are all basically fitted into a frame that's mounted inside this timber frame. And what I've been doing is I've made this I made this frame which fits inside, so that will go inside there. You can see screw holes in the side which are the fixing points, but it's all very congested in here. So what I've been doing is making some of the components, and here I'm going to show you this is one of the operating arms for either the brake or the clutch, and that's got to go in somewhere like that. And I've got all sorts of clearances to worry about and other things. So what I've decided to do is I'll build this frame and get all of the components that need to operate mounted to it, so such as the handbrake lever, etc. And make sure that I've got sufficient clearance on all the items for them to work in practice, and then I'll proceed with fitting this to the front cab on a permanent basis once I've ratified that I've got all the adequate clearances. I mean, one of the clearances I'm worried about is the clearance of the operating arm here. There's an operating arm here, and how close will that be to the bottom of the floorboards? So you imagine I've got to mount that somewhere here, and that's, you know, why these sketches are. Yeah, I've got to clear the floorboards, and in that position it won't, so it's probably going to have to be lower. And I've just got to work out all those tolerances and whatnot, which means getting that framework and the operating arms and levers correct before I can really finalise this this component. You know, there's not a lot left to do on this really. It's all to do with this frame and also fixing points for the louvers. So I've got to sort the fixings for the louvers out as well. And then that's it, more or less finished. Of course, in the thick of all that, there's a steering column. So what I will probably end up doing is making a dummy steering column and steering box in order to get all of the measurements correct and not interfering. And I've already actually started making. This is going to be the support for the steering box, and that will go on the side of here. Sorry, it'll go on the side of the chassis. So again, I've got to make sure that as this steering column comes up, it doesn't interfere with the foot pedals and the fulcrum points for the other components in the cab. So it's quite fiddly. It's a typical example of where trial and error, if you like, triumphs building exactly to scale, because I know there will be scaling issues in this. You know, to get the required strength, I may end up with components that are slightly bigger than the real thing in the truck, and in fact some of the components I can't measure because they're buried in the body of the truck, and it's very difficult to actually take accurate measurements for them. So this is probably my biggest scaling challenge for this vehicle, and I'll let you know how it goes as I get on with it.